Good morning, Cougar fans, and welcome to Concordia Stadium, Geisman Gymnasium, as we have an early morning contest between your Concordia University Chicago Cougars and the visiting Lakers of Roosevelt University. Peter Borkowski on the call with you, joined by Parker Kelly. Parker, it's game one of today's triangular. Cougars taking on Roosevelt. Wabash is also here. That'll be the next game, Wabash versus Roosevelt. And then Cougars and Wabash will close out the day later this afternoon. But let's focus on this match first, Parker. Cougars coming off a 3-1 loss at CUW. First conference loss of the year. CUW is always a tough team, Parker. What do the Cougars need to do to partially rebound here?
Well, before we even get into that, I would just like to say that this is an exciting matchup. Whenever you have a triple header like this and two teams that have never faced each other, it's always exciting. But as you mentioned, Roosevelt University is a tougher team. They're also a little bit of a newer team. They've only been around for 4 years. This Cougar program is fairly young as well. The Cougars just need to play with a lot of effort, and they need to play calm, cool, and collected. As we saw last year, the Cougars were always playing their best volleyball whenever they were calm and they communicated. They have a lot of experienced players coming back. That'll help them today, and that's really the key for them this afternoon.
Well, Roosevelt, they're coming off a loss of their own against conference rival Judson. That was a 3-0 loss back on the 24th, which was just last night. And Parker, this is an NAIA team, as I mentioned, so not the usual NCAA opponent the Cougars are used to, but this is still a team you have to watch out for. On the year, Roosevelt 5-8, 2-3 in conference play. So despite that difference in what league they're in, this is not a team you can overlook, and this should be a good test for the Cougars to get back on track after this past Saturday's loss at CUW.
Absolutely, and Roosevelt is coming in, just like we talked about, coming off of that conference loss last night, actually. But one player that really stands out for Roosevelt is Conrad Para. Leads the team with a little over 3 kills per set. He's an excellent player. Roosevelt will be trying to get the ball in his hands early and often. The Cougars should be on the lookout for him because he's a very dangerous player for this Lakers squad.
Well, really quick, in terms of dangerous players for the Cougars, you always got to watch out for Luke Vozenelik, 7th in the NAC in hitting percentage, but 1st in kills per set, 1st in points per set. Vozenelik has been the offensive stud of this Cougars team for pretty much his entire career now. He's a senior. This is, you think his last year playing here, of course, he has the option to come back if he'd like for his 5th year, but going under the assumption this is his senior year, Vozenelik wants to go out with a bang, make an impact for his team, especially under first-year coach Greg Manos.
And it just seems that every time we're announcing a CUC volleyball game, Vozenelik is the person that we always are talking about. He's the best player, no doubt, for this Cougar squad. Like you said, 7th in hitting percentage, 1st in kills per set in the NAC. He's a stud, and he's got a rocket of an arm. He's also a great blocker as well. He's a very versatile player for this Cougar squad, and he's looking to go out with a bang. So look for him to be playing very motivated volleyball this afternoon in the Cougar Classic.
Well, Cougar Classic is underway here this morning. Cougars lining up on their side of the court. That's on the left of your screen. Meanwhile, the Lakers, they've still yet to come out to the court, though they're just breaking up their huddle now. So we're going to take it down to the court for you. We'll get national anthem starting lineup. And then today's action between the Cougars of Concordia University Chicago and the Lakers of Roosevelt.
morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Geisman Gymnasium and today's men's volleyball tri-match. Our first match of the day is between the Lakers of Roosevelt University and the Cougars of Concordia University, Chicago. Let's meet the starting lineups first for our visitors from Chicago, the Lakers. The libero is senior number 2, Christopher. Junior outside hitter number 1, Daniel Mahoney. Senior opposite side hitter number 6, Sean McCarthy. Senior outside hitter number 11, Conrad Parra. Sophomore middle blocker number 15, Terrence Young. Senior setter number 21, Tony Galliano. And senior middle blocker number 23, Joseph Coffey. The assistant coach is Nicasio Paquis, and the head coach of the Lakers is Kelly Magliano. And now here are the starters for the Concordia Chicago Cougars. The libero is junior number 1, Blake Roosevelt. Senior outside hitter number 4, Luke Vozelik. Junior outside hitter number 7, David Bale. Senior opposite side hitter number 9, Tyler Hollaback. Freshman opposite side and middle blocker number 10, Vladimir Erickson. Freshman center number 11, Eli Mosher. And freshman middle blocker number 18, Andre Muller. Assistant coach is Peter Bukowski, and the head coach of the Cougars is Greg Manos.
Well, there you have it, your starting lineups for the day. Let's run it back one more time for everyone watching at home. For the visiting Lakers of Roosevelt University, it's number 1, Daniel Mahoney, number 6, Sean McCarthy, number 11, Conrad Parra, number 15, Terrence Young Jr., number 21, Tony Galina, and number 23, Joseph Claffey. The libero is number 2, Christopher Vermaint. Meanwhile, for your CUC Cougars, it's number 4, Luke Vozenik, number 7, David Vales, number 9, Tyler Hollabeck, number 10, Vladimir Erickson, number 11, Eli Mosher, and number 18, Andre Muller. The libero for the Cougars is number 1, the junior, Blake Rosen. And Parker, this is something Coach Greg Manos, his first year here at CUC, it's something he's talked about in our coaches' weekly interviews, which is the mix of youth and experience on this Cougars roster. You look at the starters, you have seniors and, Vozenik and Hollabeck, but you also have 3 freshmen starting in Erickson, Mosher, and Moeller. This is a really nice group of both veteran players who know what they're doing, who know what the CUC team is about, and then young players who are coming in, having that immediate impact, and who are only going to get better as the years go along.
Yeah, and these 3 veteran players that are in the starting lineup are very, very good. One of them being Luke Vozenik, that first team All-NAC member last year, and Tyler Hollabeck, the All-Conference honorable mention. But then you have your 3 freshmen who have come in and have adapted to the speed of college volleyball very well, and they're playing great volleyball here in the early going of the season.
Well, it's the early going of this game as the first serve is off. Blake Rosen's able to control it. That was off the hands of Conrad Parra, and that's the first point of the match for the Cougars.
And who else besides Luke Vozenik getting the Cougars started off early with an early kill. Great play by Vozenik.
Now back to serve is the senior Vozenik. It's a good serve. Roosevelt's able to take control of it, though. Nice play there by Eli Mosher, the standout freshman setter. Mosher 6th in the conference in assists per set. And Cougars, they're going to get another point there. A play at the net falls on the Lakers side, so the Cougars take a quick 2-zip lead here in the first. And Vozena looks back to serve again.
And we were just talking about it, Peter, that mix of freshmen and experienced players. Nice job by Vales and Erickson getting up on that last block.
Attacking error on the Lakers there gives the Cougars point number 3. Parker, the Lakers got to figure out something here. This could get out of control fast, as they really haven't had much going here. As that's another Cougars point. Vozena using the top of the net to his advantage. Gets the service ace.
And for Roosevelt, I mean, it's an early start, a 10 o'clock start here in River Forest. The Cougars are off to a 4-0 start. You don't want to find yourself getting down by too many points here early, because it will not bode well.
Well, there's first point of the match for the Lakers, a service error on Vozena. But Parker, also, we should remember that this game was originally scheduled for 9 a.m. It was an even earlier start time than just a few days ago. It was pushed back to 10 a.m. I assume much to the joy of the players. I mean, these early matches are always tough. You have to wake up early, manage to get a good breakfast inside you, and then play a game when, it's not even close to noon yet.
Yeah, I bet the players are not complaining about getting an extra hour of sleep.
Well, a service error on the part of the Lakers gives the ball right back to the Cougars, score 5-1, and now coming in to serve is another freshman who's made himself known on this Cougars roster, the Aurora, Colorado native, Deontay Garcia goes back to serve.
And Garcia is a very interesting player. He was a 3-time varsity captain in high school. He's a leader, and he's coming in as a freshman and playing very well.
Vales, well, floater over the net. Nice dig there from Tony Galina. Cougars still on the attack. That was an attempt by Moeller. Good defense by the Lakers. Kept it alive, but unfortunately an errant attack sends the ball out of play. So Cougars, they're up 6-1, and that's going to force a Lakers timeout. So we're going to take a break here in the booth as well. Be back in a minute or so. Cougars, they're up 6-1 on Roosevelt. Back here in Geisman Gymnasium, Cougars, they're up big on the Lakers early, 6-1. And Parker, it seems like the secret for the Cougars has been just play good, clean volleyball. They're not doing anything, super special out there. They're just playing their game, and Roosevelt's not really done their part to respond to it.
Yeah, and I mean, the Cougars are looking, despite the early start, they're looking very energized and ready to go. It seems that they were doing everything right in practice this week, and they're looking really relaxed right now, and they're playing to how their head coach, Greg Manos, wants them to play.
Well, that's something Manos talked about in our last weekly interview, as there's a service ace for Deontay Garcia, the freshman, looking like an upperclassman with his composure on that. But Manos talked about how energetic this team is, especially in practice, and how a key to their success is going to be getting that energy level to match the execution on the court. And that seems to be paying off in dividends right now, as they're up big early over Roosevelt. Play continues here. That attack just sneaks inside the line, so Roosevelt gets point number 2 of the set.
And, Peter, going back to what you were saying about this Cougars team being very energetic, it goes well beyond off the court as well. You see any of these players just walking around on campus and every day, they're a really fun group of people to be around, and that really carries over well into the volleyball court.
Well, an error there gives control back to CUC. Tyler Hollaback the serve. It's a good one, but Roosevelt has to play it. Tipped up front by Vales and Moeller. Here goes Vales now. Nice play there by Conrad Parra. Now Parra goes for the attack. It hits the net. And that'll lead to a Cougars point. 4-touch rule called on Lakers. Can't do that, so Cougars increase their lead back to 7, 9-2.
And you couldn't ask for a better start if you're Manos and the Cougars.
Attempt there from McCarthy. Kept alive by the Cougars. This is going to be a tough play. Hollebeck has to send it over, and he does. Nice play there by the senior number 9. Garcia now. This will go on the Lakers side. Mosher Vales with the attempt. And then here's an attempt from Mahoney. Great play. Tyler Hollebeck, such a well-rounded player. Keeps the play alive. And Deontay Garcia, I think he got the pancake on that one. There's no one to back him up, however. So Lakers, they get point number 3 of the set, pull within 6.
Really, that was just a great volley by both sides. Great effort, running around to make the play, get the dig. Just incredible volley to watch.
And you wonder if this will be the start of something, of course, as I say that, a service error on Daniel Mahoney. But maybe it will be a little bit of a momentum boost going forward. Lakers, that was a good volley. Like you said, they ended up winning it, knowing they can hang in there with this Cougars team, who's up big on them right now, early goings of set 1. As Mahoney's going to send it over. Hollebeck. Mosher sets up. Moeller doesn't go anywhere, however. Nice defensive play by Hollebeck. Vozenelik sends it over. Good block up front. Moeller and Mosher, the freshman duo, getting the job done. Attack error as Lakers send that one into the net. Cougars up by 8. And that's going to force another Lakers timeout. Parker, we're going to keep it here this time. I talked about it at the end of the last time out that this Cougars team is just playing good, clean volleyball. They're energetic. They seem to be having fun out there here early Saturday morning. But what else are you seeing that's leading to this 8-point lead? Because Roosevelt's really struggling to get anything going. They are struggling offensively. Defensively, they've looked fine, but especially offensively, a lot of errors so far, a lot of miscues on that Lakers side.
Well, really, the Cougars aren't doing a whole lot of wrong right now. They're playing great on both sides, offense and defense. But here's the thing that concerns me. We saw with last year's Cougar squad that they often did get off to a hot start. However, they struggled to kind of keep that momentum through the remainder of the match.
Right.
Greg Manos will be looking for his team to continue this hot streak, continue this momentum throughout the remainder of the match. If the Cougars are able to do that, I like their chances.
Well, that's another topic Coach Manos has addressed in Coaches Weeklies, is being able to battle throughout an entire game. And, you know, it's a great if you could come out, get a hot start, win that first set, but you have to be able to hang on, like you just said, Parker. You have to battle consistently set 1 through 3, 4, 5, whatever it may be. That's something that this Cougars team, who again is a pretty young team on the whole, despite a solid group of veterans, that's something that they've been learning kind of the hard way this year. A lot of 5-set losses on the year already. But here are the Lakers trying to get back in this one. 11-3 Cougars here in set 1. Vozenelik sends it right into the forearms of Christopher Fermaint. And then there it is, point 4 for the Lakers. And now back to serve. It'll be number 23, Joseph Claffey.
And right now the Lakers are just scrapping and clawing for every point that they can get right now. It looks like the early start time has affected them. But let's see if they can make something on this run.
Good play by Vozenelik. That was a little bit of a trick ball, and they're going to say that tipped a Laker. That looked like it just went out of bounds at first, but that did go off the hand of a Roosevelt defender. So the Cougars back in control of the board. 12-4 now. Andre Moeller back to serve. Moeller serve. A little too much sauce on that one as it goes out. This time it wasn't touched by the Lakers, so Lakers get a point. Pull within 7 of the Cougars.
And something we haven't seen so far is if the Lakers get a point, they haven't followed that up with another consecutive point. If they were able to do that right here, it'd be the first time they've done it in this game so far. It looks like they have.
There it is. That's just a point I was going to make as well, Parker, that just because of how big the Cougars' lead is right now, you can't really afford to go back and forth. You need to put on a big run. So 2 straight points for the Lakers. See if they can do something with it here as Vozenelik goes for the kill. You set Vozenalik like that perfectly. He's going to finish that play 9 times out of 10.
There's not a whole lot of teams that would be able to dig that. Whenever Vozenalik rears back, there's not many players that can stop it.
So here's Eli Mosher. Roosevelt able to corral his serve, and that one sneaks right inside the line. So some good placement there from the Lakers. That was accredited to Sean McCarthy, assisted by Tony Galena.
Definitely thought that one almost was out of bounds, but excellent placement right there by the Lakers.
Here's Para. Gives it to the Cougars. That tips a couple fingers on the way out. So Tyler Hollaback finishes off the play.
And a player that often gets overshadowed is Tyler Hollaback. We don't talk about enough about how great of a player he is. He's very well-rounded for this Cougar squad. Another senior, provides leadership for this team, and he should make a huge impact here this afternoon.
We're back to Hollaback in a second as the Cougars ran into a little danger there. They're able to play it. Nice play by Vlad Erickson as it goes out. The freshman stepping up big for the Cougars. But back to your point about Hollaback, Parker. You know, Hollaback was primarily the setter for this Cougars team last year, which means even though he's a great attacker, he kind of had to split duties between setting and being an offensive threat in terms of kills. Now Eli Mosher comes in, performs really well in that setter position. That frees up Hollaback to focus almost entirely on getting kills.
And if any player can do that, it's Hollaback. He's versatile. He can do whatever the coaches need him to do, and that's what makes him such a great volleyball player.
Well, we got a nice volley here as Blake Rosen tried to send that one over, and Roosevelt able to corral it. Rosen again gets a piece of it. Little push there from Vozenalik. This volley is still going. Eli Mosher, Tyler Hollaback looks to finish it off and does. We were just talking about him. Tyler Hollaback got a hold of that one. Some Lakers got a piece of it, but I think that ball was too hard hit for them to really do anything about it.
Definitely an excellent play by Hollaback.
And a little misplay there as some Lakers bump into each other. That one goes out near the scorer's table. Some of our fellow SID workers over there. The far side of the gym as it's now 17-7. Ball popped up. And trying to play it at a weird angle was McCarthy, was not able to. So 18-7 now is our score.
And the Lakers are finding themselves in a deep hole right here as the Cougars have gone on a little bit of a run. They need to respond or else not a whole lot of great chances that they'll win this set.
Well, that's a good start to things. The service error on Vozenalik. Now they got to get something going on their own. And even in the points that the Lakers have scored, Parker, quite a number of them have seemed to come off of Cougars errors rather than, Roosevelt, just playing well, playing good offense. And that's obviously going to change. Now, you got to think 19-8 here in set one, probably out of reach, but they're going to need to make some major set-to-set adjustments to come out in set two, hopefully pick up that one.
Yeah, and that just shows you how much the Lakers' offense has been struggling. If, a lot of their points have come off of Cougar errors, they definitely need to get something going.
Well, maybe they can go on a run here, give themselves a little bit of confidence before the end of the set. Well, that's not going to help. An error there. 20 serving 8. Deontay Garcia in to do so. Cougars have had total control of this set from wire to wire. Garcia blocked up front. Good job there. That was a Moeller and a Hollaback. Moeller gets another piece of it, and that one gets sent into the stands. I think that's off the arm of Christopher Fermaint. And now the Cougars are closer and closer to that magic set point 25.
It was a nice play by Eli Mosher. He's come in and played very well as a freshman. Leads the team in assists per set, almost close to 8 assists. And he's playing very well. especially right now.
And an errant serve there from Garcia. He's laughing about it, though. Good sign from the freshman. He's not going to let that one get him down as Hollaback rears up. Lakers able to take control. There's an attempt from Claffey. Vozenelic's right there. Hollaback again. It's off the hands and out. Cougars point number 22. 3 away from claiming set 1. And a hard serve straight into the net from Hollaback. So Lakers down by 12 here into set 1. They need to go on a pretty impressive run here. They want any chance of claiming this set.
They're going on a little bit of a run right now. Only the second time in this game that they've had consecutive points. We'll see what the Lakers can do with it and how they respond.
But again, Parker, those 2 points, they've come off of Cougars' errors. Roosevelt's going to have to start generating some offense themselves because the way this Cougars team is playing, you can't just rely on them to make mistakes as David Vales gets the Cougars back on track there. Closes that set point to just 2 now.
And the thing that's been very impressive so far with the Cougars is whenever the Lakers get a few points here and there, they don't seem rattled, and they just go back to the way they play their style of volleyball.
Mosher is going to set up Vozenelic. Not much you could say about that one. Vozenelic got a hold of all of it. And so now it's set point. David Vales back to do so. Number 7 in maroon, the junior out of Oak Forest, Illinois. Serve is soft, but it's good. And that attack from Conrad Parra proves fruitful. He's going to keep his Lakers alive at least to 1 more volley. And now Sam Claffey goes back to serve.
Yeah, we talked about Conrad Parra in the pregame, but he's one of those players for this Lakers who is really good. Leads the team in kills, a little over 3 per game. Got one right there.
Well, Vozenelic gets one right there, and that'll be point number 25, which means the Cougars claim set 1 in dominating fashion, 25-12. They'll take the 1-0 lead in the match. So we're going to take a bit of a break here. Be back in just a minute. Cougars are up 1-0 after the set 1 victory. Back here in Geisman Gymnasium, CUC men's volleyball up 1-0 on the men's volleyball team of Roosevelt University. But before we get to that, we have a day full of Cougars athletics to talk about. Both track and field teams are in Ripon, Wisconsin right now for the NAC Conference Championship. Meanwhile, softball, they're currently playing Lake Forest College over at the Dome in Rosemount. Lake Forest currently up 5-4 on the Cougars, bottom of the 5th inning. We have the men's volleyball triangular going on today. Roosevelt University taking on the Cougars here. Then Wabash and Roosevelt will play each other at 12:30 before Cougars finish off the day against Wabash at 3 p.m. Cougars men's lacrosse on campus today at 2 p.m. also against Wabash College, funny enough. And then men's baseball, I don't really need to specify men's baseball. They're in Indianapolis right now. They're taking on Heidelberg at 2:30, Lawrence University at 6 p.m., and then those games are both Eastern Standard Time. Meanwhile, men's tennis is at North Central College tonight at 8 p.m. But Parker, really quick, back to this game as the teams take the court. You mentioned the hitting percentage while we were in between sets, and I don't think it doesn't take a professional analyst to know there's a big disparity in hitting percentages right now.
Yeah, right now Roosevelt has a negative .033 hitting percentage. Meanwhile, on the other hand, the Cougars have a .308 hitting percentage. And like you said, it doesn't take a volleyball expert to realize that the Cougars won that last set in dominating fashion. Greg Manos will be looking to do the same thing here in the second set.
So the Cougars and Roosevelt take the court. Cougars won that first set 25-12. Lakers struggle to get anything going consistently. We'll see what adjustments they made in between sets, courtesy of head coach Kelly Magliano. She's assisted by Nicasio Paquez Jr. Cougars, they'll start off the set. Eli Mosher, serve is good. Attempt there by Claffey. Doesn't go anywhere. That goes off some fingertips. Whistle blown. Point Cougars. And Claffey went underneath the net when he went up to try and block that Hollebeck attack. So another error on part of the Lakers leads to a Cougar point. And that's something they're really going to need to clean up, Parker, is so much of this game hasn't necessarily, been Cougars dominating Roosevelt. It's Roosevelt just not playing super clean. They're making a lot of mistakes, which is leading to these Cougars points. And then to kind of add on top of that, Cougars are playing good volleyball. They just keep piling it on.
Yeah, when you have a mix of the Cougars playing well-rounded volleyball and then Roosevelt being able to capitalize off of some of these errors, doesn't bode well for Roosevelt, and they need to start generating something on offense. That's what we talked about in the first set, and we're kind of seeing the same thing true in the second set.
2-1, the Cougars lead. Vozenelik serve hits the net, so Roosevelt gets a break there, tie things up at 2 points apiece. And back to serve now is Mahoney, junior out of Orland Park, Illinois, Oak Forest High School alum. Leads this team, one of the team leaders in points with 33.5. That is third on the team. Cougars get a point back now. 3-2 is the score as Deontay Garcia comes in to serve.
And Roosevelt showing a little bit more fight than they did in that first set here in the early going of the second set. And if you're the Lakers, that's exactly what you want to see.
Big block up front. Tyler Hollebeck, Andre Moeller getting up there for the block. And the funny thing, Parker, is neither of those two players, they're not extraordinarily tall. Hollebeck 6'2". Moeller is 6'5". He doesn't entirely look it on the court from this point of view, but these aren't absolute giants out there. But all these Cougars players are just so athletic that even if they aren't the tallest player in the world, they're able to get up there for that block.
It's exactly what I was going to say. I mean, Hollebeck is just an athlete, and so is Moeller. But when you have a mix of athletes and then you also have tall volleyball players, when you have that mix, it's a great front line for the Cougars.
Want to remember the blocks leader for the Cougars is Colby Campbell. Set the regular season blocks record last season. Now, we haven't seen him in this match yet. Maybe Coach Manos saving him for that later match against Wabash. But Campbell's only 6'2" himself, so he's not an extraordinarily tall player either. But these players get it done in the weight room, get it done during training. Are just athletes down there. Now they have a 3-point lead over the Lakers.
And Colby Campbell is a really interesting player, transfer And he set the single season record for Concordia last year in blocks with 63 and blocks assisted with 58. Like you mentioned, only 6'2", but he's very athletic. He's able to get up there, put his hands up, and he's strong and powerful. He's a really great player for this Cougars team.
Blocked up front, whistle blown. Point goes to the Lakers. 4-touch rule called on the Cougars. So the Lakers pull within 1 now. They were just down by 3. Now it's 6-5. So we are seeing a little bit more fight out of this Lakers squad. Obviously, we don't know how the rest of the set will go, but the fact that it's already 6-5, make that 6-6 now. This Roosevelt team obviously made some adjustments in between sets, and it's showing off here early in set 2.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, last set, the Cougars were going on a run. Right now we see a tie game, and it goes back to my point. The Cougars have to be able to carry that momentum and finish through this second set.
A absolute rocket off the hand of Luke Vozenilek. Goes way out of bounds. So now Lakers, they actually take a lead here. Check that. Never mind, the game is tied, but Roosevelt had a lead for just a couple of seconds there. They're coming out. They came here to play in set 2 as now David Vale's back to serve, tied up 7-7.
And sometimes all you need is a wake-up call, and that's exactly what that first set was. Needed a little bit of time to get awake, and now they're playing their best volleyball of the afternoon here in set number 2.
Lakers control it now, and mistimed attack there from Para, Chicago native, alumni of Richards High School. So Vales to serve again. Cougars retake the lead 8-7. It's a good serve. Para handles it, and it's given right back to Para. Off some Cougar fingertips, off the hand of Vales, and out of play. So we're tied up again at 8. Now Para back to serve.
And this is the first point at any match here this afternoon that the Cougars have been tied, or they've either given up a lead, and they still don't look rattled. And this is where that experience starts to come into play, where you've had players that have been in this position before. However, they've been able to overcome a lot of these deficits, and that's exactly what you love to see for the Cougars.
9-8 in favor of the Cougars. Strong attack there. That was from Terrence Young Jr. Play still continuing, and wow, what a rocket off the hands of the Lakers attacker. That one hit. That one was able to get a piece of molar, and he sent that top row opposite side of the gym. Happened to hit probably the only 2 people sitting over there.
Yeah, we've seen a few of those rockets here in this morning matchup.
Well, it could be some players loosening up. Again, this game started at 10 a.m., which means these players were on the court warming up around 9 a.m. That's just an early start for these guys. So I think we're going to see, as this match goes on, as the day goes on in general, these attacks are going to get more powerful as players continue to wake up. Players get a little more loose, a little more stretched out. They're going to start getting a hold of some of these volleyballs. So we're tied up at 10 again. Cougars usually the ones taking the lead, but credit the Lakers. They've done a great job fighting back almost every volley. Cougars haven't been able to build a multi-point lead in a minute here. Great dig there. Christopher Fermain sent it right back to the Cougars. And point given to the Lakers. Violation on Vozenilek's attack. And now Lakers back in charge, 11-10. Stand-up serve there from Sean McCarthy. And Tyler Hallback ties things up right away with that attempt.
We've seen a lot of lead changes this afternoon. We've seen a lot of ties. Just a back-and-forth affair. Both teams playing very clean volleyball, cleaner than the first set. And it'll be interesting to see the outcome of this game.
Well, the outcome of that volley was a Lakers point off of the errant serve. Now here's Daniel Mahoney. And another errant serve there, this time on part of the Lakers, 12-12. And we've seen that Cougar hitting percentage shrink down to 211. It was over 300 after set one, so Cougars offense has definitely calmed down a little bit, as that's our third straight service error. So these two teams having trouble at the service line right now, as Claffey's going to hope to break that trend.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting to see that hitting percentage go down, and also both teams have committed a fair amount of errors. Not the same volleyball that we've seen the Cougars play.
Nice attack there from Tyler Hollebeck. Hit it where nobody was, usually a pretty good strategy. As now he goes back to the service line. 13, serving 13. It's a strong serve played by McCarthy. Here goes Para. Roosevelt gets under it. Now Young gets all to that one. Roosevelt right back in the back row to handle it, but errant attempt from Hollebeck gives the lead right back to Roosevelt. Both these teams struggling to go on any kind of consistent run here.
It's just a back and forth affair, and really what it's about in this set is who wants it more. And both teams are just going back and forth. Again, like I said, this set is very interesting compared to the last one.
Good dig there by Fermain. Keeps it alive, but that's going to hit the net. So there's your back-to-back points. It goes to the Lakers. Now the Cougars have themselves a little hole to dig out of, down by 2, 15, serving 13. That's Galliana. Hollebeck off some fingertips, kept alive. Para, too strong on that one. Had to wait for the official call on it. And it goes in favor of the Cougars, so David Vales back to serve. Looking to tie things up here, 14 serving 15.
And something interesting to note is the Cougars have had in this set 6 errors, and in the last set only had 2. And right now Roosevelt has 4. So a combined 10 errors, and it's just been back and forth. Both teams not playing their cleanest. Nice job by the Cougars, able to tie it up at 15.
Vales back to serve again. Roosevelt sends it over. Vales, Mosher, Moeller gets a piece of it for Mink. And then tipped up front and down. Cougars, they gone on a 3-point spree here, take the lead 16-14. And that's going to cause a timeout from Coach Magliano of Roosevelt. So Cougars, they're up 16-15 on the Lakers here in set 2. Taking a bit of a breather. We'll be back in just a second on the Cougar Sports Network. (16-15) is your score here in Geisman. Cougars up on the Lakers of Roosevelt University. Parker, Cougars might be up on the Lakers, but this has been a really close set. Lakers kind of getting their feet under them after that absolute domination of set 1 on the Cougars' part. Cougars, they're facing a almost entirely different Roosevelt team now.
Yeah, and it's a little too close for comfort. The Cougars they weren't down at all, never trailed in that first set. We've seen it several points in this set. They've trailed several times to the Lakers. Lakers look very awakened right now, and like they needed that wake-up call in the first set.
Well, that solid play continues for Roosevelt. They tie things up again at 16. And I think the key to this set, Parker, is who's going to be able to go on that run. These two teams are basically trading points. Yes, maybe one team will score 2 or 3 in a row, but these teams are having trouble putting together a run to really build up a strong lead, let's say, here in set 2. I think whoever's going to be able to do that first should come away with the winner of set 2.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's what you have to do in contests like these. And really no team has been able to do that so far, and the team that is able to do that will most likely come out with the victory in the second set.
Cougars retake the lead 17-16. Some substitutions made. Vlad Erickson back in, and now coming in to serve is number 12, Christopher Livesay, making his first appearance of the day. Livesay, junior out of Medina, Illinois. And Cougars keep it going. Nice dig there by Parra. The whistle's blown. Violation called on the Lakers, so maybe the start of something here for the Cougars, up 18-16 now.
Their biggest lead of the afternoon. The Cougars need to be able to respond in a situation like this and stay calm, cool, collected, continue to get these points, go on a run, and come out with the victory in the second set.
Misplay there by Fermain. Lakers able to keep it going. Good recovery. Vlad Erickson goes for the kill. No good. And a kill there instead for Sean McCarthy into the blockers' hands of Vozenelik and Erickson, and then straight down. So another substitution here. Livesay out. Blake Rosen in. Rosen, of course, the libero for this Cougars team, junior out of Aldie, Virginia. As Rosen averaging 2 digs a set. And point there goes in the way of Roosevelt. So they're up they tie things up 18-18 late here in set 1. That's going to force Coach Manos' hand. Timeout Cougars will keep it here during the timeout. Parker, this set about as close as it can get, 18-18. Both teams just 7 points away from claiming set 2. What's it going to take on either team? We've talked about the need to go on a run for both these teams, but what does that mean? What do these teams need to do? Cougars, do they need to clean things up a little? What does Roosevelt need to do to really pull away? What's going to be the secret to coming out of set 2 with that win?
Well, Roosevelt right now is, whenever the Cougars respond with points of their own, they respond right back, and that's something that we didn't see in the first set. Whenever Concordia would go on a run, they'd kind of lay down and shy away. Right now, they're not doing that. Meanwhile, on the other hand, the Cougars need to generate some offense. That wasn't a problem in the first set. That is a problem here today. If they can generate some offense, it should bode well for them in set number 2.
Well, that hitting percentage keeps going down for CUC. .189 is where it currently sits. Again, that was over 300 before set 2 began. Meanwhile, Roosevelt, they've done a good job adjusting. Their hitting percentage has gone up. It was sitting in the negatives after set 1. Right now it's at .020. Still not a great mark, but when you're sitting below the 0 line, getting above it is a positive. See if it can keep going up as these two teams are running out of set to play, 18-18. There's one of the officials talking to the scorers table, far side of the gym. So both coaches going to take this delay to talk things over with their players. We see Coach Manos speaking with Vozenelik. Meanwhile, Magliano, she's now talking to the official. She was talking to our players. So a bit of a delay here. Reminder, this Cougars men's volleyball team, they'll be back in action later today. That's a 3 p.m. start time as they take on Wabash College to finish off the Cougars Classic Try. That middle match, which is Wabash versus Roosevelt. That's set for 12:30 right now. Well, while we have this break, get a score update on the other CUC team playing right now. That's the softball team taking on Lake Forest College at the ballpark at Rosemont. Currently tied 5-5, bottom of the 6th. Cougars got a runner in scoring position, so see if they can do something about it. Now now they got a runner at first and third. So a point goes to the Cougars here. It'll officially be ruled a service error on part of Roosevelt. Not sure what the official calling is all the way up here, but hopefully we'll get some word as there goes a service ace for the Cougars. Roosevelt not able to handle that one.
And now we see Cougars have their biggest lead of the afternoon. Greg Manos, head coach, wants to see them finish this set.
And a big block up front. Vlad Erickson lets everyone know about it. And we do have that official ruling from the scorers table. Lakers were out of rotation and had the wrong guy about to serve. So that leads to the point for CUC. And Parker, that's one of those slip-ups you just can't afford. You're in a close set here in set 2, looking to avoid that 0-2 set hole as Cougars get another block. They're on fire defensively, but you can't have a silly error like that out of rotation, having the wrong guy serve when this match is neck and neck right now.
Yeah, and it's definitely a momentum killer, especially when you were only down 1 point. Then that mistake cost you another point. You're down 19-17. The Cougars went on a little bit of a run. Now they're up 5, only 3 points away from closing out this set.
Well, timeout called by coach of the Lakers, Kelly Magliano. Keep it here until the timeout comes back. Look at some of the stat leaders of the match. The kills leader right now, it's a tie between Tyler Hollebeck and Sean McCarthy. Both of them have 8. In second place is Luke Vozelik, and then no other player on this court has more than 2, which is Conrad Para. So these two teams being carried by their stars right now. McCarthy for Roosevelt, Hollebeck and Vozelik for the Cougars. Meanwhile, some of the other stats, Eli Mosher doing what Eli Mosher's done all season. 15 assists through just about 2 sets here. Meanwhile, the assist leader for the Roosevelt Lakers is their own setter, Tony Galliana.
Yeah, and right now for the Cougars, Hollebeck and Vozenik both get a lot of credit, but this freshman Mosher has come in and has played really good team volleyball, leads the team in assists, as we talked about. He's also 6th in the NAC conference in assists as well. Mm-hmm. He's doing his thing here this afternoon with 15 assists, and then on the other side with Roosevelt, Sean McCarthy really stepping up. Conrad Para having a bit of an off day, only 2 kills in this morning match. Well, he's used to having more.
Well, he'll get at least one more set to do so. Hopefully he gets one more set, as that point helps those aspirations. The Lakers pull within 4 now, 22-18. We're going to get a sweat towel here, Blake Rosen. It's a couple whoops. Couple cheers from the crowd.
That's that energized Cougar bench that we were talking about.
That's that Cougars grit. Rosen literally doing the dirty work as the Cougars back on the court night. Hollebeck pulls them within 2 of a set 2 victory. Things are looking good for the Cougars right now, Parker. It looks like they finally found a way to break through. Again, we're talking about it was basically teams just swapping points. Now the Cougars have gone on an impressive run here, looking to finish things off, though Roosevelt's going to have something to say about that.
Yeah, and it's exactly what we talked about. The Cougars, as they were in a back-and-forth affair throughout the early going and towards the middle of this set, towards the end, they're starting to pull through, and that's because of your veteran leaders such as Vozenik and Hollebeck.
Hollebeck, his attempt is dug by Mahoney, and Good play there. Pulls the Cougars within one. Roosevelt's in desperation mode now. Last thing you want is to fall in a 2-0 set hole against it, especially against a Cougars team who has been playing good volleyball all day long.
Yeah, they've been complete so far. It struggled in the early and middle set, but they're starting to pull through, and it's exactly what you want to see if you're head coach Greg Manos.
Claffey, pancake by Deontay Garcia. We're still playing, but the Lakers finish it off. Claffey, pretty sure he gave the too small sign on his way back to the service line, so he's fired up. His team down by 4. Now the Cougars, they're going to take a timeout, as we will here in the booth. Cougars, they're at set point still, 24-20. Roosevelt making a run, though. See if the Cougars can finish it off here on the Cougar Sports Network. Teams coming out of the timeout here in Geisman. The Cougars 1 point away from taking a 2-0 set lead here in today's match. Cougars, Lakers, first game of the Cougar Classic Triangular. Parker, the Cougars look like to be on the verge of claiming set 2, but Roosevelt, they're making a push here. They have to go perfect now, score at least 4 straight points if they want to force additional volleyball.
Definitely can't afford a mistake here, but that was going back to that last possession, that was a great point by Roosevelt. And they got another point right there.
There's another great point, just going to say that myself. They pull within 3 now. And Cougars almost on their back heels right now a little bit as Roosevelt's making a big push here. Hollaback blocked up front. Good job there on the part of Lopez Parra. Cougars keep it alive. Mosher has to just send a freebie over. Now Young, his attempt is stopped by Garcia. Hollaback pins it in the corner and takes set 2 for the Cougars.
Nice placement right there from Hollaback, right in that back left corner. Again, we talked about how great of a player Hollaback is. He showed it right there to close out that second set, give the Cougars a 2-0 lead.
25-21 is your set 2 final score. Cougars take a 2-0 set lead in the match. We're going to take a break here in the Cougar Sports Network, but don't go anywhere. Cougars looking to see if they could close out this morning's match against the Roosevelt Lakers here at the Cougar Classic Triangular. Back here in Geisman Gymnasium, Cougars, they're up 2-0 in the match over the Lakers of Roosevelt University. But before we talk about the game, Parker, do want to take a quick chance to shout out everyone working today's production, making it possible for viewers like you at home. Up here with me and Parker, helping us produce is Katie Shrims, and down on the far side of the court, Amaya Martin working the clock, Jada Carr and Julia Beers at the scorers table, Emily Balaban helping with the scoring. I believe she's calling out the libero. We have Saba Miller floating around taking photos as our photographer for the day. We're under direction of Claire Hickey, Sydney Palaskis-Lahar, and our sports information director, Kayla McLeod, who's currently in Indianapolis with the CUC baseball team as they get set for a doubleheader today in the state of Indiana to kick off their season. But Parker, we got about a little over 30 seconds before we kick off set 3 here in Geisman. That was a very, very close set, too, especially at points when the Lakers were actually in front of the Cougars. They seem to have found their rhythm, played a much more competitive set, too. This set 3, it's going to be a tough one for the Cougars to pull off a sweep. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, the Cougars have only had one sweep so far this season. That was on February 3rd of this year at Wittenberg University. They were able to do it here this afternoon. It will be the only second time they've done it this season. But the interesting thing about Roosevelt is they've played better and better as the sets have prolonged. And it'll be interesting to see how they come out in this third set, how head coach Kelly Magliano fires up her team.
Well, Cougars, they take the court. They're ready to go. They've been fired up all day despite the early morning start time. Lakers talking things over on the bench one more time. They have to win this set. It's do or die here for the Lakers. Now they will be back in action at 12:30, taking on the other team involved in this triangular. That's the Wabash Little Giants. You can see them right side of your screen, that big group in red on the bleachers. They get set to play 2 games. They'll take on Roosevelt at 12:30 and then finish off the try against the Cougars at 3. So not a bad day of volleyball if you're getting 3 games in before even 3 o'clock starts, or 3 games in at 3 o'clock, I guess I should say. So full day of volleyball here in Geisman. Men's lacrosse out on the football field at 2 p.m. Also taking on Wabash softball. They're currently up on Lake Forest at the ballpark in Rosemont, 6-5 in the top of the 7th. And like I mentioned, baseball over in Indianapolis. They'll get set for 2 games in their season opener. It's a good day to be a Cougars fan, especially the way this men's volleyball team is playing as they get the first point of set 3.
Yeah, spring sports is in full swing here on the campus of Concordia University, Chicago. Excellent start by the Cougars, getting the first point of match number 3. Should be interesting to see how these 2 teams square off.
An attempt there goes nowhere. That was from Mahoney. And Rosen sliding around. That ball gets sent into the net. Mahoney back to serve now. On the year, Mahoney 9 service aces, averaging at 0.6 a set. And Hollaback pins the corner. That's the way he ended set 2 on the other corner of the court. But Hollaback, he might not be as strong as Vozenelik, even though he does have a strong attack when he gets a hold of one. But he's so accurate. That's really where his lethalness comes from, is his precision, his ability to pin those 2 corners. As in the past 4 points, we've seen him do it twice now.
I would say Hollaback is lethal in that area, and you mentioned earlier that he has kind of had to transition from being more of a setter to now focusing on his attacks, and that has proven to be very fruitful this morning as he leads the Cougars, leads the match with 11 kills.
Point goes the way of the Lakers, but back to Hollaback really quick. He is 6th in the NAC in both kills per set at a little over 3 a set, and also points per set at a little over 3.5 per set. So, like you said, Parker, a little bit of a different role for Hollaback this season under first-year coach Greg Manos as that error goes out of bounds. Point Lakers, but Hollebeck has taken that new role in full, and he's absolutely thriving in it. Just such a complete all-around player. You could probably put him almost anywhere on the court. He's going to do a good job at it.
And you can tell he's fired up about just being an honorable mention for the NAC Conference. He's looking to get that first team with the way he's been playing this season.
He's looking a little bit more hungry as the Cougars tied things up at 3 now. So it looks like we're going to get more repeat of set 2 than 1, a close affair between the Lakers and Cougars. That one hits a speaker, so bad break for Roosevelt. You can see Sean McCarthy kind of take a look up at that speaker. That's just an unfortunate bounce for the Lakers. But fortunate for the Cougars as they now take a 4-3 lead.
Just looked like McCarthy kind of mistimed it as the ball was coming down.
Now a service ace as a rocket off the forearms of Lopez Parra, who's trying to receive it. So Cougars take a 2-point lead now. Hollebeck trying to make it a 3-point lead. And instead, that lead will shrink down to 1 after the service error. Back to serve is Galeana.
Just a little too much strength on that serve from Hollebeck right there.
Fails to Mosher. Hollebeck, a floater. Read all the way by Fermaint. And that attempt from McCarthy goes nowhere except the net. Cougars back up by a couple now. And Vales to serve.
Roosevelt over there communicating about how they're going to handle this possession on defense.
And another reception error there, Lopez Parra. Lakers just having trouble getting control of the ball right now, Parker, and they got to tune it up quick as they're down by 3 in a set they cannot afford to lose.
It just looks like they're just mistiming their digs so far on defense. Right now, offense isn't much of a problem as much as it is defense.
Blocked up front, but it goes to the Lakers. That ball rode the net the entire way before going out. One of the weirder block plays we've seen here in Geisman, but Lakers aren't going to complain about it. Vozenelik, his ball gotten a hand on by Galeana.
Vozenelik showing off his athleticism as well. He's been more quiet in this morning's match, but nice job right there, getting up, kind of prolonging himself in the air and getting the block.
Well, we have a final score alert from Rosemont. Cougars softball team taking the 6-5 victory over Lake Forest. So congrats to the softball team starting their season out with a win. Men's volleyball, they're trying to start out this triangular with a win now as Vozenelik pops it over the net. Roosevelt controls it. Good play by Vales, but it goes out of bounds. Vales couldn't get a good angle on it. So 8-6 now.
And Roosevelt has just looked like a different team other than set number 1. Set number 2, they're sticking around. And so far here in the early going of set number 3, they're playing up to Concordia's level as well.
Daniel Magana-Wen back to serve. Freshman setter out of El Mirage, Arizona. And Vozenelik, strong attempt, blocked up front, and it drops inbounds on the Cougar side of the court. 8-7 now. Magana-Wen back to serve again. The serve played by Vozenelik.
It was a nice response by the Cougars as the Lakers went on a 2-0 run, responded right there with the point.
2-point lead now for the Cougars, looking to close out this first match of the Cougar Classic Tri. There's Eli Mosher. His serve is good, played by the Lakers. Vozenelik, wow. I'm pretty sure you could hear that one back at Roosevelt University downtown. Hit the blockers right up front before flying out of bounds. So the Cougars increase their lead to 3 now.
Again, when Vozanilik rears back, there's not much you can do to stop it.
I'm not worried about the safety of your arms at that point. You don't want to take one of those things full blast at the net as Cougars now up by 4. Things starting to slip away from Roosevelt. It was a close early set 3, and now Cougars, they're going on a run here as Mosher's back to serve. And that one flies into the net, so Roosevelt gets a point back here.
Again, the Lakers have really been able to capitalize off of these Cougar errors.
Here's Hollabeck. Lakers can't do much to stop that one. 12-8 now.
He's just been very precise with his attacks this morning, and something that I'm sure the fans have noticed as well, the Cougars have not allowed the Lakers to go on very long runs, maybe 2-3 points at max, but other than that, the Cougars have just not, they've been very stingy on defense and haven't allowed Lakers to go on any kind of run.
12-9 now is the score. Daniel Mahoney to serve. Couple bounces before finally getting the serve off. Absolute rocket. Blake Rosen somehow gets the dig. And now it's back on Roosevelt's side. Claffey blocked up front before going out of bounds. 12-10 is your score here in set 3. Cougars looking to close things out. Roosevelt's not going down without a fight, though, as it's Daniel Mahoney back to serve.
And we've seen that in sets number 2 and 3, that they're not going away easy.
Mahoney. That goes out of play, so Cougars get a point back. 13 serving 10 coming up. And to do the honors, it will be Deontay Garcia as he makes his way into the match and into the back of the court to the service line.
I tell you, Garcia has gotten some really good minutes here in the first 3 matches. He's been very instrumental on both sides of the ball for the Cougars.
He had one service ace, as that's blocked up front. Moeller and Hollabeck, that one out of bounds. Though it's going to tip a Cougar, the officials say. So back within 2 are the Roosevelt Lakers.
And this is having some resemblance of set number 2, Peter.
Claffey to serve. A high arc on that one, played by Vozanilik. Moeller got a hold of that one a little too much, though. 13-12 in favor of the Cougars. Claffey back to serve once again. Fails to Mosher. Here goes Hollabeck. No good there. And that's a pancake for Deontay Garcia, but the Cougars weren't there to back him up. That's the second one we've seen Garcia get today. Now it's up to the rest of his squad to provide some backup for that one.
And that's exactly what I was talking about when I said instrumental. I mean, just phenomenal effort right there displayed by Deontay Garcia.
Hollabeck gets the kill right into the blocker's hands. That was Young as well as Lopez Parra. Hollabeck to serve now, 14 serving 13. This match close again after the Cougars pulled away a little. Good one-handed dig there by Fermaint. Cougars in control of it. Vales, Fermaint there again. Good defense from the Lakers. Libero, and now Vozanilik. That one's blocked up front. And Young, he just misses it. Mistimed his jump there. Took a swing at the air. And that's going to give the Cougars a 2-point lead.
And, again, the experience is starting to show for this Cougars team. When you have a volley like that, they're able to come out on top and get the point.
Lopez Parra gets the kill as Cougars not able to rebound after the block up front. Galliana back to serve. 14, serving 15. Good serve. This is Vozenelik to Mosher. David Vales blocked up front. Nice play there by Garcia to keep it up front. That one rights the net. Cougars, they're just going to take the 4-touch rule as we're tied up now. Both teams 10 points away from claiming set 3.
Sometimes when that ball rides the net, it can be very awkward. Lakers were fortunate to come out on top with that point.
Hollaback gets the kill. Hit a blocker up front, and then Vermaint couldn't adjust in time.
Hollaback now with 14 kills here in the morning and over 400 hitting percentage. He's playing really good volleyball.
David Vales back to serve, goes very far back to serve, and not enough juice on that one as it hits the net. Tied up again at 16.
Back and forth affair, just like set number 2.
Lopez Parra to serve. Garcia to Mosher. Here goes Vozenelik. Count it. Luke Vozenelik. What are you going to do about that one as the Cougars up by 1 now, 17-16.
Not only did that have some force behind it, but it was very accurate, just pinging right inside that right side of the court.
Chris Livesay back to serve. Back into the match. 17, serving 16. And well-placed attempt there from Young. Hit the top of the net before bouncing on the Cougars side. Cougars just could not adjust in time to it hitting the net. Tied up at 17 again. And Magana Wen.
Roosevelt looking to come out on top in this set number 3. They've been in this position before in the set prior. Weren't able to finish. They'll be looking to finish this set.
Oh, my goodness, Luke Vozenelik. Watch out. He got a hold of that one. He gives the Cougars the lead again. We're starting to see Vozenelik pick it up a little, Parker. We talked about he was having a relatively quiet day by Luke Vozenelik standards now. He's really picking up the momentum here in this third set.
Yeah, already 11 kills here in the morning.
Claffey, good play by Mosher, good play by Erickson. We're still alive. Rosen, Mosher, Vozenelik flips it over. Lakers cannot get there. 2-point lead for the Cougars, 19-17.
And I'm sure the Lakers were caught off guard by that kill from Vozenelik. Usually they're rockets, but that one was just a little soft floater over the net.
Well, timeout called by the Lakers. They're trailing the Cougars by 2, 19-17. We'll take a break up here as well. Be back in just a second. Don't go anywhere. Set 3 about to reach its conclusion. About 20 seconds left in the timeout. Cougars up by 2, 19-17. Parker, we kind of had the discussion back in set 2. Very close set here in 3. We're reaching the end of it. What's it going to take for one of these two teams to really pull away with things? Lakers looking to stay alive in the match. Cougars looking to close things out.
Well, what we saw from Roosevelt last set was it was a back-and-forth affair just like this one. However, they allowed the Cougars to go on a bit of a run. So as set number 3 is coming to a close, what really needs to step up is the Lakers' defense. And on the flip side, the Cougars, they just need to continue this offensive production, and they'll be able to close out the set.
Eli Mosher back to serve. It's a good one. As Vermaint plays it, Galeana And Mahoney goes for the kill. No good. Whistle blown. Point Lakers. 2 double touch called on CUC. So Lakers pull within 1. Sean McCarthy, the kill leader for Roosevelt with 10 serves. Mosher. Hollaback gets all of that one off the blocker's fingertips, and it still stayed in after that even. 20-18.
And Hollaback not doing much wrong here in these first 3 sets.
Zenelik for me. Galliano, absolute missile off the hand of McCarthy. Goes out of bounds. The Cougars going on that bit of a run we talked about, 21-18. Roosevelt's got to pick it up right now or else they're on the verge of getting swept.
It's the exact same format that we saw in the last set. Roosevelt has to be able to respond.
Fails. Lopez Parr plays it. Galliana to Mahoney. That hits the top of the net. Cougars react nicely. Hollaback finds that open space on the court. Pulls the Cougars within 3 of the match victory. They're looking for win number 3 on the year under the first-year coach Greg Manos. Vozenelik. McCarthy. He's going to go for the kill. Vozenelik gets a piece of it. Rosen all the way back. He falls, avoids the steps on the bleachers. Cougars get it over. Great play there by Blake Rosen, and a good block up front. Everything going the Cougars' way defensively. They're now within 2 of a sweep, and that's going to force another Roosevelt timeout, their second of the set. Parker, we're going to keep it here. Cougars, they're absolutely fired up. They're 2 points away from winning this first match in the Cougar Classic Triangular. But let's talk about Roosevelt. They got to find something. They've been trading points all day with the Cougars ever since the beginning of set 2. But when you're down by 5, that your opponent's 2 away from a set victory, you can't trade points. You have to go on that run.
Yeah, right now it's just a mix for the Lakers of offensive and defensive woes. Just that front line of the Cougars was so good on that last possession. The Lakers haven't been able to generate much on offense, nor have they been able to stop the Cougars' attack on defense. And it's the exact same storyline that we saw in the last set.
Well, and you have to feel kind of bad if you're a Lakers player right now because statistically this has probably been your best set in terms of hitting percentage, which is at .042. Again, not a great mark, but it's been their highest of the match. They have 6 errors right now. They had 6 in set 1, 8 in set 2, so it's not like Roosevelt's playing a bad set by any means. Yes, they've had their struggles, especially in terms of digging and being able to pull off those digs, but this Cougar team, they're fired up. They're playing good, clean volleyball right now. They're on the verge of a sweep.
Yeah, and it's not exactly their worst set, but it's not their best set either. And right now, the Cougars' experience is really shining right now.
Block up front, Hollaback. Erickson was in the area as well, and that's set point and match point for the Cougars now.
And Erickson has kind of had a quieter morning, but he's really starting to come alive in this third set with the blocks.
Vozenelik, the serve, looking to close things out here. Galliana. Mahoney blocked up front. Ball still in the air. Lakers able to rebound. Blocked up front. Cougars win.
That's exactly what we were just talking about. That front line of the Cougars is dangerous when you have the mix of height and athleticism up front.
Cougars pull off the sweep of Roosevelt, open up the Cougar Classic Triangular on a high note. That was a almost dominant game from the Cougars. Yes, Roosevelt was in it in that second and third set, but Cougars basically had control of the match, wire to wire, especially that set 1. That set 1, Parker, was instrumental because even though sets 2 and 3 were close, and you could say the game as a whole was close despite the sweep, the ability for the Cougars to come out, absolutely dominate in set 1 and take that 1-set lead. I mean, I think that's a big reason, especially in terms of setting the tone, that they're able to come away with the sweep.
And that's exactly what this Cougar team has to do. We've seen that in previous matches when the Cougars have fallen behind. it's been hard for them to come back. So right away, setting the tone was very instrumental in how this match turned out. And despite the back-and-forth affairs in sets 2 and 3, they were able to prevail, and that's due to that veteran experience that we've been talking about all morning.
Well, before we sign off, let's go over some of the stats leaders from today's match. In terms of kills, it was Tyler Hollbeck, 16 kills on the match, led the day for the Cougars and both teams in general. Luke Vozenalik right behind him at 12. Second on the Cougars, second in the match as well. Kill leader for Roosevelt, Sean McCarthy with 10. The assist leader, Eli Mosher, putting up another 30-piece in the assist category. That freshman is looking anything but a freshman for the Cougars. Meanwhile, Tony Galliana led the way for Roosevelt with 17. And finally, in the digs category, Luke Vozenalik with 10. He was one of 2 players in double digits. The other was Chris Vermain on the Roosevelt side of the court. He had 10 as well. But that'll do it for game 1 of the Cougar Classic Try. One more thanks to this crew working the game. Katie Shrem's up here with me and Parker helping produce on the scorers table. We had Jada Carr and Julia Beers and Maya Martin working the clock. We had Emily Balaban help spot for stats, and then we had Saba Miller taking great photographs as he always does. We're under the direction of Sydney Placislaher, Claire Hickey, and our sports information director, Kayla McLeod. One more time. Cougars, they take game 1 of the try, beat Roosevelt 3-0. Don't go anywhere. Roosevelt versus Wabash coming up at 12:30, and then Cougars back on the court to take on Wabash at 3 p.m. But for now, this is Peter Borkowski signing off of the Cougar Sports Network. Parker Kelly will be on the call with you for that Roosevelt-Wabash game, so don't go anywhere here on the Cougar Sports Network.